to record now. Set up the project as usual. This time I organize to week 3. Week 3, here we go. And we are trying to finish I should be number. Why that's zeros? Let me see. 02. Okay, that's the right one. Let me check. All right. So will be 03. Okay, so now I already put this inside one layers. Let's bring up the body. Okay, so the body will have another control so that we can animate like this, rotate it. Okay, so now I'm gonna create a new locator, a new controller. So that will be my controller. Let me put this back to 0 and move it by accident. And I'm gonna move these above. It's just easy to see. That's all. There we go. So this will be a whole control. We're gonna call Gami. So Gami and Gami body CTL control. Okay, you can call like just main control is fine. How about Gami main control? Sounds better. Main control. Okay. And we need to phase transform this, modify phase, so that nice and clean. And we want to be able to animate, translate, rotate. Now scale, we probably will not animate this. If we want to scale it, we're gonna scale the globe node. So, however, we will not be. Let's just lock them, but not hide it. Oh, hold on. We can't lock or hide yet because we still under a progress of hierarchy. So we better to keep it. Okay. And now there's one thing we could do. No, we don't need to do. There's another thing I kind of want to show it to you. Say it again. So on the Gami main control, there's a display and drawing override. If you wanted to have a little fancy color, so it's different than the other, now you can turn on enable override and change the index color to be something different. Let me choose yellow. Here we go. Can you see? Now, there might be a time when we parent something on this. It might the controller might change to be yellow also. If you don't like it, we can turn off. So right now we can leave it on so that we can see a little nicer. Now, we actually want the body, we want these to follow the main control. However, these will need to create a little more we're going to have a little more upper hierarchy. The reason is we're going to rig this to be able to slide and fold, and then we want the entire wheel to follow, like to fold it. So let me save this. Let me show you what I was trying to do. One moment. Lecture right there. One. Let me show you what would happen. Oh, where is my if project one? Oh, here we go. Where did I keep my? Hold on. I wanted to show the indirect. No. Origami project. I am losing. No. I have too many files and I got confused sometime. Where did I keep them? 21 spring, fall, spring 20, maybe this. Let me bring up the old file instead. Origami. Curiosity. I apologize, guys. Hold on. I don't think this one has it. Mechanica. Where did I keep my file? Well, hold on. One moment. There's nothing there. It should be in there. Curiosity starter. So this part of the model will fold it. So the wheel will follow. We'll fold it also. We kind of reorient it. But it's not going to be oriented at this location. It has to be at that point. So this ball is kind of reference plus decoration. So we'll follow. We're gonna use today. I'm gonna introduce you a IK forward inverse kinematics or IK. Now forward in kinematics basically forward like this. It's forward rotation, and then I'll explain about the invert kinematics. So like this is forward kinematic because it's directly forward direction, and it's something like this. Just don't do anything, just watch. If I press P, so forward kinematic is mean when you rotate a hierarchy, the sub-hierarchy follow. To animate the rotation of the sub-hierarchy, you can have to animate it manually by rotate the sub-hierarchy like this. So, but there are certain situation you wanted to do automatic rotate each link of the hierarchy, and that's why we will use inverse kinematic. So now, talking about the body, we want the body to be able to kind of rock like this when it stops or when it's when it's moving forward. You know, it's like thinking about the secondary action. So we don't want to animate directly on the body neither. So we're going to use controller, and you could use, I'm going to use this icon. You can use circle, regular circle is fine. So now it's going to be 90 degree. Here we go. And I'm going to, this model, see the center, the pivot point is on the center. So I'm going to move these to match. So select this circle, the controller, and shift select the body object. And then you go to modify align to and align to center. So just look at on the center align icon and click. Now, this axis, you're probably going to have to zoom in. Oh, I found it. Here we go, right there. Now let's go up. And you can turn on scale 2 to scale down a little bit. I think that's too small. Here we go. How about that? And I'm going to call body rotate. So Gami, don't forget, Gami body rotate CTL. There we go. I should keep lowercase, I forgot again, but that's okay. So look like this. So now phase transformation has to be nice and clean. And we're going to parent the body object to the body control, body rotate control. Press P shortcut. So now when you look at on the outliner, it's become become a child of the rotate control. So now we want the rotate control to be a child of the main control. So press P, select the rotate control, and shift select the body. So now, can you see this is what I was saying? When it's become a child, it's turned to take up the yellow color. Now, you can re-override this, but if you override this, the body wireframe will become another color too. Like for example, if I select that body rotate, go to attribute editor, the third icon from the right side of status line, click on the first tab, which is the top hierarchy, translate node. And translate node, you have drawing override. So you will need to click display tab and then look for drawing overrides. Enable, and then you can change your color. I'm gonna go with, how about just blue this time? Here we go. So now look like this. Blue. Okay. You can change any color. It's just color code. It looks kind of nice and organized. And same here, if you want to change this to be red and blue, red is on the left, you can enable it, enable the override, and change to red. There we go. So now, but the wheel will be red also. Is if you don't like it, just don't change. Okay. Here we go. So now, if we grab the main control, the main body, and it will go follow. This is what we want. Okay. So now let's lock the wheel templated or high. Here we go. We're going to focus only on this guy, and I forgot to put this with the wheel, and this guy need to be under wheel control. Hold on, let me go back to reference. I need to select, find out. In this, you don't have to do like mine because you already done it if you follow the video. Here we go. So now it's in there. Here we go. And this one I want it to be inside the wheel. All right. Okay. Hi. Temporary. Save. So let's talk about this. How can we do this? To use inverse kinematic, we need a joint. So switch the module to raking module. And let's go to font view. There we go. Before we started to rake, let's talk about the joint. If you click on skeleton menu, create joints, open up option, look like this. Let's talk a little bit about the option. Now I'm going to click reset to just in case. You can turn on a degree of freedom. You always want to have 3 axes. Now symmetry, if it's on, it will allow you to create symmetry. So basically we want that on this exercise, on this process. But before we turn it on, let's try. To create, you click one, you get a spherical icon. It's actually its icon. When you click anywhere, the second one, if you click and hold, you can drag. If you let go and then you want to change, you go use with middle mouse button, and then you can rechange. Now, if you notice is on the visual, when you slide or moving the next joint, you see the bone are changing orientation and always keep pointing it to the next available joint. So now I can add another one. There we go. And to finish, you just press enter. Now you finish. Now to reposition after you finish, you can select each joint. If I select these, this is the higher hierarchy. To indicate the higher hierarchy, you look at on the larger parts of the bone. The pointy part is pointing to the child. So now when I grab these link, move, these are a child of the second link, so it follow. So this is straightforward kinematic. So now when you move the joint, you reposition the translate node. This is a translate node. It will not be rendered. Now, to create or to animate forward kinematics, you do like this. You rotate the upper joint, the lower joint will follow. So, and in this technique, you can use a lot of things. If we think about rigging a biped, this will be the arm or the finger. Okay. Now, there's a way that we can do inverse kinematics. So the forwards mean if I want this part of the lowest joint to be placed right there, I have to do this. Rotate, rotate. Here we go. Now, if we do invert kinematics, we could just move this joint and position there, and then it will reverse the location and calculate the rotation on the upper and higher hierarchy. That's a inverse kinematic. Let's delete this. Let's take a look at some options.
I'm sorry to,
Yes.
did you restart the recording from where you paused it?
Say it again.
Did you restart your recording from where you paused it?
I did.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to double check.
No, good, thank you, but I did. I didn't forget this time. So now, orientation, acid, oh, sorry, we are not on the joint. So skeleton, create joint again, here we go. Now, scale compensate, you always want it to be on. If it's off, let me leave it on one, two, press enter, and second one, I'm gonna turn it off. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. So now, if I select, here we go, turn on scale 2, and then I'm gonna scale. Can you see the difference? The first one compensate is on, the second one no. So what it does is the compensate is gonna scale only the selected joint. The rest of them will maintain their shape. But without scale compensate, it will scale in the last bounding box that cover from the beginning to the end. So you get that. And a lot of time you will not use this technique at all for the scale compensate. Always on. Auto join limit, you don't need to. If you turn it on, it will limit the angle of the joint to be rotated. For example, right now there's no limit, so they're free. So or axis, if you limit it, it will try to limit it based on the angle of it. So you do not want that. You can limit it manually. Create IK handle. If I turn it on, you will get this, which undesirable, because we better to do it by ourselves manually. Now this is the invert kinematics. Can you see? Let me turn this off. Okay. So it means I can reposition the IK handle, and then the system change will calculate the rotation on each joint to match in real time. We don't see it. Okay. So I'm going to delete that. We're going to create manually. So I'm going to turn off create IK handle. Now, variable bone radius setting is based on this setting. So short bone length within 1 unit, you get 50% size. Within about 30 unit, you get 0.2 increment, 2 in increment. So this is what it does. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. One click, second click. Here we go. Can you see? Longer the joint shape getting bigger. Smaller gets smaller. Here we go. So now, ideally, I don't want this at all. So basically, I could turn it off so that they're all same size. And if I need to, when you press enter, you can get in by selecting joint radius under channel box. You can increase it. These are just a reference, a visual reference. Can you see? I can reduce it. And the idea is in project 3, we will use this a lot to create the whole biped. So you want the tip joint to be smaller, the base joint to be larger for visual reference. Okay, so I'm going to delete. I'm going to click it again. There we go. Now, orientation setting by default is X, Y, and Z. So X is primary. So basically, X will go. If I don't, we really need to see. I'm going to select all the joint here, and I go to display, transform display, local, rotation axis. So see, X is primary, and then Y is up, Z is on the side. If I rotate, here we go. And one note, when you create the joint, you always want to create on 2-dimensional viewport, not 3D. If it's 3D, this is what I'm going to get. It's going to go to the base on the ground. That's it. So now, in this project, you want the orientation joint to line up to the workspace. There's a reason, because it's easier to rig. Here we go. So now, when I go to display again, it's just because when it's lined up to the workspace, it will match exactly on the controller pivot point. Display. There you go. Can you see they are lined up to the workspace, and it will function. It will function if I add IK handle. You don't need to do it yet. Skeleton IK handle. It's going to function as it's supposed to. Here we go. Okay. So, and everything else we can just leave as is. Hold on, we'll go to join again. So now let's start it. This is the setting that we'll be using, and we can turn on symmetry. And symmetry we're going to create on font view, so we create on the right, it will apply to the left. So we want axis X, because based on here, let's test. When we first click it right here. Okay. Now if you hold shift, we'll go straight up. I want you to go back, press backspace to start it over. Now I want you to add extra joy right here. Hold shift click and shift click again. Here we go. The reason is because we want that to be constrained with the wheel, so that the wheel can rotate at that pivot point. If I turn on wheel, we want the wheel to follow that joint. That's what we plan. So we add that extra, and then I'm going to hold shift add to here, and if you look at right here, we're going to add right on that. Can you see it's about the center of that shape? Here we go. And then now, can you see we got left and right because we turn on symmetry. If you did not turn on, you can duplicate and mirror them. So right now, press enter to finish. And then now we can go to edit the size, the radius. Right now, by default, if you look at under display, you have a animation, display, and joint size. You can change this size to like 0.2, can you see? Or you can leave it 0.1, but go inside here and change the radius. So the radius can be, I'm going to do 0.2, a little larger, but not too large. And then all of these, I'm going to shift select. You might have to shift and drag to select. I'm going to change that to 0.1. All of them, except for the base, so that it's easy to identify. Let me add 0.3. Now, what if you wanted to relocate it? Right there, can you see? You can press, turn on move to, and press D. When you press D, you change pivot point of the bone, of the joint. So I can place it right in there. There we go. And everything else, I could just leave it there. It's fine. So now, what if you feel like, well, let me turn this off. You did all the work. You don't want to come and fix this to get the sign. What you can do like this. You can press delete. And then you duplicate this, Control D, and then you group it to itself. It will line up right here. And then you just rotate that 160 degree, 180, so mine will be minus 80. Here we go. You could do something like this, and then you just go to edit ungroup. And then now it's there. The only thing we need to fix on this section is here. Rotates, has the volumes. translate always has a values on bone or on the joint, because the joint are absolute node on translation. So it means that translate is based on the center of the world space. It's always going to be there. You can't freeze them, but you can freeze rotation. So if you go to modify freeze transformation and freeze, can you see rotation is gone? So this is another way. Okay. So now look like this. I'm going to bring the body back. Okay. Now, how do we do this? First, if you are on perspective, can you see this button? X-ray joint is under shading, and X-ray joint right there. So now, when we do that, it will show the joint on top of the surface. So what we need to do is we need to parent the object accordingly to the joint location. So this section will be on the base of the joint. Hey guys, sorry, I forgot. Let's name our joint first. So this one will be, we call Gami arm fold. So let's name all of them at once. So select each joint, hold shift. And to select the joint, to make it easier, you can reach and drag on the bone. When you do that, we'll select, when you do the bone, we'll select the top hierarchy. Here we go, see? And now the last one, you have to select the joint itself because there's no bone, no link. And on the status line, upper, expand this section, we need to see the input. These are absolute workspace. If you click drop down menu, you can change to rename system. And leave the word join or J and T, shortcut, short name J and T. And we're gonna call, this one is L, right? Put L underscore Gami underscore arm fold. Something like that. Something that makes sense to you. And press execute it, press enter. So now every single one of them will change to that name and has a number on it. This one you can add base. Here we go. Okay. So let's use that name and put it to the right side. Hold shift and just select the bone shape. The last joint, you will have to select the joint. And then this one will be R, J and T, because we have left and right. Here we go. So now it's ready to parent. Go to the object body. So now we select this section. There we go. Let me rotate a little bit so that you can see. This part is called FLD Poly 1. Shift select the base joint of the left arm fold. And you can press P. P is a shortcut for parent. Right there. Here we go. Now, if you grab that joint, rotate it, and look, it's follow. Here we go. When we rotate it. And joint can be animated by translate or rotate. Scale is kind of time to time. You might want it. Like for example, if you want to extend the surface, you have to skin it and then you can scale using, here we go, see, like that. But, okay. So now, the bolt here, gonna be a child of that joint. It's joint number 1 here. Press P, test. For today, just do slowly, just testing, see if it moving like what we want. So now this shape will be the second joint here, the third joint basically. So now when I grab the base, rotate. Now, how about this guy, left out? So this left out, just be right that joint. Basically, I parent to the closest joint. So now we'll rotate like this and see if we do forward kinematics, we animate like that. So undo, here we go. So now the next thing, that shape will be a child of this joint. So now if I grab the third joint here, it will go like this. There we go. So now we want that to be on the same hierarchy with that joint. Press P. So now let's test, see if it works. Here we go. Okay. And then how about that? All right. So save. And let's do this side at the same time, right away. So one here, select to the base, press P, and select the bolt. Select the second joint there. And I can select both two objects at once. So select the bolt here, shift select that panel. And the last selection will be the joint because it's going to be a parent. Here we go. So let's test. There we go. And let's test the body. That's what we want. Same here. 1, 2, two objects will be a child of the fourth joint. Press P. Now the tip joint just there visually. Okay. So now, here we go. So, save. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create IK handle. So, under skeleton, IK, create IK handle, open up option. By default, it has rotation plane solver. Let me hide all the surface. Let me explain. You don't have to do anything, just watch. The rotation plane, it has a disk. If I click the base, which is the root, and then the end of the chains. So when I move, can you see there is a rotation plane? What rotation plane does is allow you to control, let me press T, just watch, allow you to control the pole vector so that it can twist. And this will be useful with the elbow and knee. However, for this project, you can actually use the rotation plane, but it's really annoying because, let me change the, hold on. Control B. Oops, sorry. Let me change the color on the viewport so that you can see a little better. Can you see? So now these are really annoying when you select it because can you see you see that interaction. So and also for this project we do not need twisting mode because we just didn't really animate directly to this IK either. So if I delete it, and the other one is single chains. Oops, I switch module. Skeleton, IK handle, and you have single chains. Single chains will not have a the rotation plane mode, and will not allow you to twist. Now, with these type of IK, it works perfectly fine with one direction or three direction, but not twist. The problem with this is this: when you started to rotate around, moving around like that, it's going to be hard to get it back. I mean, to make it straight line, and sometimes it just pop an uncontrollable snap, like swinging. So that's why you don't use this for a a little more complex rigging like elbow or knee. In the past, though, it has been used for a video game because there's a limit number of the joints. But that was like 90 or something, like 1990, something like that. So now let's come back to do it together. So let me make sure everything's go back to the same spot. Gonna enable. Here we go. And I'm gonna disable the layer for temporarily. So now we're gonna use single chains, solver enable, and snap enable. Now turn on sticky, so it's pinned, doesn't lift up. So click from the base, the bottom, and then go around to the end of the chains. Will look like this. Now, remember one thing, IK handle, you do not want to freeze them. If you freeze it, the function will act really weird. So you do not want to freeze the IK handle. However, you do not want to animate directly from the IK handle neither. So let's go to, you don't animate directly. You wanted something to be on top, like group node or locator or controller. So this time you can use anything. You can use regular circle, or you can use, let's use regular circle, so that we know that, yes, it's a circle as a controller, put 90, but we are not going to really animate this directly. We're going to use set driven key to control it. So now just move the, you can hold V key so that it snap to join. V key snap to point. See, if I hold V key right here, this button is on, it's toggle on, it's snap to point. Snap it there. Turn on the 3D mesh so that you can see how big you want it and scale it down. That's all I need, just really small. Freeze transform, modify, freeze it. And this time you're gonna call like left IK control. So L underscore Gami arm4 IK control. Fold IK, I should IK CTL, here we go. And delete history, don't leave any. We want to be clear on the shape node right there. And now duplicate this and put it to the other side so that we don't have to do it again. I'm going to turn on X-ray, join X-ray join, this button, or under shading, X-ray join. Just duplicate this one, Control D, and then I'm going to hold V key, and you can turn on Move to, hold V key, and then snap to the join. Here we go. And you might need to turn off because this V key is also vertex. So, and freeze transform. Let me just template it on the body layers. Modify, freeze, and I'm gonna call R. And get rid of 1. There we go. So save your scene again. Okay. And now we need to name these IK so that we can see, so that it's easy for us to figure it out what they are for. So I'm gonna double click on the outliner, and I can call L Gami fold and IK, just IK. You don't need the word handle. And I'm going to copy that name because there's another thing that we need to rename it. it doesn't show it here. There's an N effector. So when you select, you go to Window, General Editor, and Hypergraph Hierarchy, right there. Oh, sorry, Hypergraph Connection. And there will be N effector right there. And N effector is the pivot point of the IK handle. We don't deal with this. We will use that when we do bipedal, the third project. So I just want to introduce this to you. You can right click and rename. And basically you just add the arm fold Gami in front of it, because we're going to have 2 of them. And the third project will have 4 of them. So now I can leave this window up for a bit. Let's hold on. Just close it. The other side, let's do it later, one at a time. So now you're gonna just parent the IK handle to the IK control, that curve, parent it. So now you are able to animate this and watch. See, everything I follow. Let me switch to reference. Here we go. So now it looks like this. Here we go. It works as it's supposed to. So now I'm gonna zero these out. And later on we're gonna limit some information here. So at the moment, if I grab the body, well, it's still not follow, right? How do we make this follow? It's really easy. You just select the base joint and you just parent it to, you can parent it to these, parent it under main control, under the body here. So I'm gonna shift select, I reference it. Select the body here and press P. You can also parent it to this main control. So there's 2 ways. Parent it to the surface or parent it to the main control. So I'm going to parent it to the surface so that you won't get confused later on. See, when I grab the surface here, I grab the body rotate, it will rock. So this is not working well yet because of we need to make these IK follow the body. Now, we don't make the IK follow, we want this guy to follow. So select that controller and shift select the body and parent it too. So now when we rotate it, it will look like this. Here we go. And I forgot one object. This guy needs to be a shell of the joint. So now let's test again. Look like this. There we go. And if I rotate this way, I still can grab the IK control and move it. And then I can still zero it out. Here we go. So rotate this back. So now we're going to do this side. This side, IK handle, create IK handle, and this is the option, single chain, solver enable, snap enable, sticky enable. Everything else leave as is. So select the base and select the end. Name it. This one will be RIK, Gami armfold IK. Let's copy that name. And we're going to rename the N effector. So go to Window, make sure you select the IK handle, General Editor, and Hypergraph Connection, and then you will see N effector. IK, here we go, N effector. Right click, rename. I'm going to just add those information at the front of the end effector. So now it's proper name, and we're going to have to parent the IK handle itself. And where's the IK handle? R IK handle. There we go. And if it's that bothering you, turn off for a moment and shift select the the armful IK control. Press P or edit parent. So now I'm going to bring that back and reference it, template. So now when I move these, here we go. So once again, we're going to select the joint and shift select the body mesh. Going to have to enable that. Press P. Now if we rotate it, it will look like this. We need to parent, we need to put the IK control to be a child of the body, the geometry. So select that, shift select the body, press P. Now when I rotate, it moves together. So now I'm missing one bolt again. That bolt need to be a child of the base joint. So now if I grab the main body, everything will go with it. I can rotate, here we go, and I can move. Now when you started to animate, you need to change the move to object space so that you can animate correctly. You see, so I can move forward, can rotate and move again. There we go. So now I can zero them out really quickly and they go back. That's why we make everything clean. All the controller need to start it from need to be set to 0 on translate and rotate. Hey guys, I don't know if you guys know this. You can shift your pivot point of the viewport camera to the selection by select any object or anything you wanted to shift the pivot point, the camera to view it, and press F. F is frames selection. Now Maya will set the pivot point of the perspective view camera to that point. So now when you dolly out, started to tumble, can you see it's right at that point? So I can change it again by press F here. And now can you see? So this is a quick way to shift your focus on the viewport to pivot. So now we're gonna have to put this wheel in there somehow. Okay. To do that, first we're gonna create a top hierarchy over this. There's a reason, because we want this to be clean and have 0 volumes. If we don't have any hierarchy on the top, this guy will take all the volumes like from that joint, because the joint has these volumes. Can you see? We cannot let that happen, because that will cause something. It might cause some incorrect calculation, or it's annoying when you has to rememorize that volumes if you're moving to the left or something like that, or up. So now we make this a little cleaner. Let's copy those names so that we can add. And then you're gonna put you can use group node, or you can use anything you want actually. So we're gonna use group node this time. So edit group. The reason that I want to use group node, because I don't want to see any icon, because this is just a preservation node, so that we don't touch them by accident. So I'm gonna call group main CTL GP. So this is a group node on top of it. Okay, and we're gonna have to change this pivot point to right around there. So let's hide this temporarily. Press D, and you can hold V key, and then just let it snap to that vertex, because that's about the pivot point we want it to stay. So just right there. There we go. Press D. So now we're going to attach this to the joint, but we don't want it to do directly. Okay. We want a little more extra. So basically, you could use something like constraint, and constraint point to this, and constraint oriented. So now what we're going to do is, just to be safe, you could use any shape actually to be on top of this node. Just one more. Like I said, we want it to be safe. We want it to save these volumes. We want this to be clear all the time. So with one hierarchy might be enough, but to be safe, we add extra hierarchy. So now you could use group node, or you can use IK hand locator, or you can use any icon of this. So this time I'm going to choose joint instead, because I want it to kind of organize visual so that it's matched with that. So we're going to create a single joint. So under skeleton, you just create joint, just one click on the floor, press enter to finish. That's it. And this time we're going to call move JNT, join. I'm going to put the word group on top also, so that I know this is on top of the group. It's just an organized, and when you do on your own, you could have any name you want to. And at this moment, I'm going to turn on move, and I'm going to hold V key and snap to that joint. If this is interact, turn it off. I can't turn that off because it's a child of the joint. So I'm going to have to hold V and snap right there. And you can reduce the size, like how about 0.5, a little bigger. Okay. So you're going to put this group node under the wheel group JNT join. Here we go. So that will be there. Here we go. So if I move the joint itself, everything follow. Now we're going to constrain. I mean, you can parent it directly, but constrain, we can limit no scale, because we don't want this to be scaled by, and we'll scale this guy up. We just want to follow and rotate. That's all. The reason is because later on, this is going to have to be scaled by the main, the group node later on. Okay. So to do that, it's easy. You select the small joint first, and shift select that control GP joint, move on the L, and constraint. Where's my constraint? Here we go. Constraint, we can use parent constraint, because parent has translate and rotate, but no scale. Okay. So we don't want scale. And add. And that's it. So now, if I grab the IK control and slide, can you see? This is what we want. We want exactly like this. There we go. So, accomplish. So now, let's do the left side. Same thing again. So, when did I create? Oh, when did I do that? That's the wrong side. How did I get this? Okay, let me delete that. I don't know when. Okay, so create another join. one click, and I'm going to change to 0.5, right? That's what we use. Turn on move to, and going to move a little bit close to, hold V, snap to that joint. Here we go. Okay. And oh, I know what happened, guys. I add another joint, and then I name to the wrong one for the wheel joint. What? Why I have too many joints? Oh, that's right. Hold on. Why in my joint tools there? Oh, I know what happened, guys. When we do symmetry, I forgot to mention about this. Under skeleton, when you create joint, when you use X symmetry, it will add extra constraint joint. That's why there has a bunch of like strange joints show up. So if you see joint and then symmetry constraint, delete them. Delete the whole thing. You don't need them. So right now, this guy will be R control GP J and T. Here we go. So let me really make it lowercase. Okay, and select the R wheel move control. We're gonna group it to itself. Edit group. Turn on move to so that you can see the pivot point. We're gonna change the new pivot point. So let's name that GP. Okay. Press D to change pivot point. I'm gonna hold V. You might need to turn off the body temporarily so that you can see it. And grab the center, snap to that vertex, the center vertex there. Press D. Okay. So now, after you've done that, you're going to parent these to, oh no, we have group node, and then you're going to parent that, yes, parent that to the joint, control GP joint. Parent it to. Hold on, you got to freeze transform first, I forgot. Select the joint. If you already parent, you have to unparent. You cannot freeze it. If you freeze it, it will freeze the whole lower hierarchy and then will cause the problem with this. So, modify freeze. Here we go. Oops. Oh, I forgot. The joy you can freeze, you cannot freeze translate. That's why we parenting. Yes, my bad. So I'm gonna just middle mouse drag and drop in here. There we go. So now select the smaller joint there and shift select the GP group joint, GP joint, the move GP joint, and then constraint, parent constraint, maintain offset, translate, and rotate, add. And then now, if I grab that, it should follow now. Plus, when I select this and move, here we go. So, okay, so now we're gonna create a controller to push the body down. So I'm gonna use the arrow key, and then you can move it up, scale it down, and you could do face forward or sideways, totally up to you. And it's right, because everything we create is from the center of the workspace. So anything we created, it will set to the center of the workspace like that. So everything's really nice and organized. So now, in this case, we need to re-hierarchy. We wanted to be able to move this and move the body down and fold those, right? So to do that, what we need to do is we need to re-hierarchy. this guy cannot be a child directly to the main control. But we're going to select the body rotate to be a child of the, we call push down. Let's rename this and phase transform first, modify phase. Let's call body down control. So Gami body down CTL. There we go. So, and if you see it's right now, right? And then see the wheel joint, they are a different hierarchy, but they are moving together because we use constraint node. And we want like this. This is the perfect one. Now, so if you look at, can you see main control rotate? What we need is, we need the body rotate to be a child of the body down, and the body down will be a child of the main control. So it's easy to do by doing like this. If you got confused, just watch one moment. So if I do like this, I can middle mouse drag the body down and put it inside the main control. So right now, the main control has two branches or two children. But what we want the rotate control to be a child of the body down. So if I middle mouse drag and drop the body rotate to the body down, and I will get this hierarchy. Main control, body down, rotate. Because we want to be able to do this. Push it down, okay, and it still follow all of them, okay. So let me undo quick. To make it a little more visual, there we go. You can do like this, simple. You can break the hierarchy by select the lower hierarchy, shift select the arrow, press P. Now you break it out. Can you see? So now the Gami main control is just float. So now you can select the down arrow, shift select the main control, and press P to bring it back. So now it's exactly same what I just did before. Here we go. So that's the hierarchy. So now we can move this. Here we go. And we can move forward and push this body down. Now we're going to play. We're going to set up the indirect animation. So what we're going to do is make sure everything is on 0. We're going to use set driven key. So basically, we're going to set the key that when you move body down here, and then you grab the IK handle control and fold that. So we're going to have a few keys to animate, to set. So undo, here we go, undo. We're going to start it now. Save this scene, and then save scene as, just in case something wrong, we can go back to the previous one. So we're going to put 3A. Okay. So deselect everything, and then just go to switch to animation, key menu, and set driven key and set. Open up. Okay. So what we concern is here, this will be the driver. So select the body down control, load driver, and we're going to animate only Y. So I'm going to highlight, translate Y. Okay. So now, using selection tool might be safer. Select both left IK control, full arm IK, arm fold IK, left and right, both of them at once. And load driven, you have 2 here, because we wanted to do it at once. And what we're going to animate on here is, if I turn on translate to X, so one will be positive X and the other one will be negative X. So now I'm going to highlight both Here we go. And then highlight translate X. So it means the body down control translate Y. We will control the IK control translate X. That's all. So first we got to set the first key. Now the key coming. And I like you to change the panel to top and bottom. So panel layout to split top. Oh, hold on, wrong one. Panel, just split top, I think. Single, two plane stack, sorry. Here we go. Okay. And this bottom, switch under panel and choose graph editor. Graph editor. Here we go. Because we wanted to see the key. So, okay. I'm going to move this right here. Okay. So now, first key has been assigned. If you remember when we use when we use set different key, you wanted to use the outliner of the different key to select object. Here we go. Click. Now we're gonna move this, move it down as low as possible. How about just there? How about a little lower? Here we go. So make sure you turn on grid so that you can see. So that's -2. That's good. Now we're going to tell what happened when we translate Y on the down control. I'm going to do one by one. Select the left or the right. I select the right. And then I'm going to set the key. I'm going to move it. So what you need to do is you need to zoom in and move forward until that edge is touched. You kind of mimic that it really does fold it. So make sure the tires still touch. So let's take a look. This is a 3.803. Let's copy that volume so that we can set to the left side. So now let's set the key first because we might forget. So now grab, highlight this. Here we go. Use outliner to select first just to be sure. And it will be negative. So I'm going to put minus and then paste that volume. Here we go. So that they're exactly same. Why this one is not touch? So in this case, I can't do the same. So I have to. What happened is, I think when I set the object, they're kind of a little off. So it's okay. And set the key. So now there are two keys going on here. We can test. So that's the keyframe. So let's test. So when we grab that, we move up. Can you see? Here we go. Now, this will dip or fold. It depends. Here we go. So, translate need to be 0. Here we go. Oh, I can see it. See, mine is not matched. So, it's my mistake. Well, if we need to fix, we have to go back and start it over, which we don't want to do that. Okay, just let it go. Now, let's limit the translate so that we don't go over 0 or below 0. So select the body down, go to attribute editor, and under first tab, look for, transformation, limit information, and collapse the rotate and turn on translate. So translate Y, we want to limit to 0. So minimum is you enable it and click this to assign 0, or you can type 0. So now you can't, Oh, sorry guys, not limit, not the minimum, is maximum actually. So we don't want to go over 0, but we can go negative. Okay. So now negative, we already we already know that -2, right? So let's turn on limit and put -2. So because it will not be able to go below than 2. Can you see? That's it. It's stopped. And later on, we're going to lock. Let's lock this left and right. Now, it's 2 if you just lock the channel here. You don't have to limit the information. So let's go back. Can you turn off or translate Y and Z, X and Z? Because later on, we're going to hide all of these attributes because we're not going to use them. So right now, it's go like this. So now it's time to break down. What you need to do is you move until you see it dip. I think the best way is, because it's -2, let's do incremental 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. So right now we're going to put -1.5. So just only 0.5. Here we go. And select the outliner and start it to translate until it's not deep to the ground. That's all you need to do. Here we go. And then you need to highlight both just in case. Set another key. Now you got that key. Here we go. And then use outliner to select because we want to make sure. So let's do -1 now. And then do the same. Select, use outliner of the set different key, because sometimes you might accidentally select something else on screen and it will not work. Here we go. Highlight both of them and set another key. There we go. And then select the body down. So right now it's -1, so it will be -0.5. Here we go. And select the arm fold and move it so that the tire are not dipped to the ground. Set the key. You need to highlight to set the key just in case. So now let's do 0. So let's test. We might have to break down even more closer. So right now I have 4 keys, I think. Here we go. I can see it's dip a little bit. Can you see that? Right there. Right here. So now because it's 0.5, right? So it will be -0.25. Half of the 0.5. Here we go. And then grab that. Let it go faster. Here we go. Select this. And highlight both. Set another key. So a little closer. Let's test again. I think that's it. I just need a little extra. And I don't like this. Can you see? Whoop. I think we need more. So will be -1.75 because half of the 0.5, because right here I could see I'm going to have to move. Here we go. That one. Okay, highlight both. Set. Okay. And if you like, you can break down a little more right here. More key is fine. It's I can see it's up a little bit. I mean, you can't really see it when you animate it. I mean, but we can be a little more picky. So will be -0.75. Actually, 0.75 is good there. So how about 25? So hold on, let me select that. I want this section. So that is 0.5, 0.75. That's correct. So hold on, let me check. So 0.25, sorry, that's what it is. Minus 0.25. 0.25. Here we go. Oh, my 0.25 is good. So 0.75, that's right. 75. Here we go. It looks okay, so I'm not going to do it. I think that's good. Otherwise, I can have to. Can you see? Now it looks like what we want. And guys, we are done. There we go. So I'm gonna switch to full view. Press A. Here we go. So save this scene. And now let's limit information. Okay. So before we limit information, let's create a group node. Group node it allows us to relocate the object. So I'm going to use circle this time because it's not important. And let's put this back. Here we go. Okay. And that circle will be big. Like really big. There we go. So this one you're going to call reposition node. Gami reposition node. So that you know that this is not for animation, for relocate the object or changing the scale. So modify physics. And you just need to grab that object, parent it to here. So now let's test. If I move, it follow, right? But let's try scale. It's not scale like what I wanted. Can you see? Because the tire are not scaled correctly. Well, it's just because of this. Here we go. Right here. You need to put the wheel group node oriented and the wheel moved. Here we go. Inside the reposition node, it has to be all in there. So right here, I forgot to put the while. Hold on. That one, I did not parent it. I forgot. Hold on, let me rearrange. That's L. Has to be on the group. I forgot. Okay. So now, what you need is this. Select all of this and middle mouse drag and put it under the position node. Now, remember, you are not animate the position node to move forward. What's going to happen is happen like this. If I move the body, the position node is just stay there. That's it for your animation, to stay there. The reason is you just need this to relocate your object. That's all. Like when project 2, we're going to bring this into the Curiosity robot. And then we're going to use this node to position it inside the robot, the Curiosity. And then you're going to animate this outside. So this part will be inside the robot. Okay. So now let's move this back to 0. Let's test. Grab this guy and scale it up. Everything should follow like this. Can you see? So now the translate auto wheel will still function. Okay. So I have a little problem. Is why it's not. Okay guys, I found out what's wrong. The problem with this is this. if I hold shift expand, the diameter already controlled by these two locator. So when we put the diameter inside the wheel, when we scale it, these two locator also stretch that diameter. Plus we scale, so it will be double stretch. So to fix it is just take this out, let it float up. I put it in, hold on, hold shift P, here we go. So put it out, that's it. So expand diameter, shift P to put it out. So right, let it float.